And with us tonight, Douglas Hurd, former Conservative Home Secretary and Foreign Secretary, Caroline Flint, Health Minister, David Laws, Liberal Democrat Work and Pensions Spokesman, Adam Price of Plaid Cymru, and the neoconservative author Douglas Murray.
Well, yes, he's got to go. It's, as other people have already said, the job he's chosen. I'd also stress one thing in particular, which hasn't been mentioned so far, which is that this country has taken a quite incredible blow to its international esteem in recent weeks. After the catastrophe, really, the PR catastrophe, apart from anything else, of seeing our servicemen abducted, kidnapped, and then released in a kind of game show fashion by the dictator of Tehran. Our standing militarily isn't that great at the moment. You can see why we've taken a blow. Were we then additionally at the moment to be deciding that there were people we held back from the front line? I don't think it gives a great impression about this country. What would give a great impression about this country is the signal, which would also be true, which is that there are no opt-outs in our armed forces, and that we are as willing to send princes into battle as we are anyone else, and that we send our finest. We don't send people who are expendable, we send our best, and I think we should give out that message. There's one follow-up, just rider comment I would like to make, which two people have mentioned already in passing, which is the issue of the press on this one. The press has been quite amazingly irresponsible, and not for the first time in Iraq. In 2005, when the Black Watch was sent in, the press all but gave diagrams and maps to the insurgents. And they said, what will the Blair government do if one of the Black Watch are harmed? That's what they're doing again with Prince Harry. I wish they wouldn't do it. I wish we could have a press embargo on this story for a bit, so that we didn't have this attention, which is effectively giving the insurgents and fascistic terrorist murderers of Iraq a PR goldmine. Well, to get back to the question about the building of walls, it's all very well to sit in Oxford and say that we object to walls being built because they divide people. No, walls in these situations can save lives. And I think that's an admirable thing. I think it's an admirable intent. It may not, like the security fence in Israel, it may not seem all that nice in Oxford, but if lives are saved, I think that matters more than the objections of a few people sitting in Oxford on a panel.
But it's Iraqis who are stopping it.
Well, it is Iraqis at the moment who are stopping it, but I think that the building of these walls, which will save lives, is a good thing. I can't see why there's a problem with this. If people think this is in security interests, and I think it is. Incidentally, in the north of Iraq, which I've just come back from, they built something not far away from this, which has worked as a security cordon around the Kurdish areas, and which has worked superbly in keeping out the majority of suicide bombers who attempt to go and kill people for going about
Why would the Iraqi
daily
president in that case say, I fear this wall might have repercussions, reminding us of other walls which we reject?
Well,
I mean, you say you can't...
because he believes it.
Well, not to turn it against you, he's sitting in Baghdad and you're sitting in Oxford.
Because you asked me.
Indeed.
Thank you. And very nice to be here it is. But, the situation in Baghdad, they should be allowed to do, and we should encourage them to do whatever they see as being in their security. And I think that is in their security. Can I just pick up one tiny thing, which is that it is odious to be repeating this notion that the Iraqi people cannot have democracy and cannot cope with it, and this kind of patrician nonsense. It's not true. The people of Iraq do deserve democracy, can cope with democracy. We shouldn't pick up this morally flatulent idea that there are people there who can't cope with it. They can, and they are fighting an enemy that is desperately trying to kill them and stop that dream of democracy. And I know which side we should be on.
All right.
This latest leak is one of a long line, as everyone knows, of leaks in this area, which are deeply compromising, not just to operations that have already taken place, but to ones that will take place in the future. It's not a great way to run any security operation to have anyone leaking during it. That much is obvious, but it ought to be said that, that when we come to this situation, that a government finds out, let's say it finds out in this case who does leak it, there's a bad precedent for this, because a couple of years ago they found somebody who leaked from quite deep inside, I think it was the Home Office at the time, wasn't it? And they decided not to prosecute on that case. I would like to see prosecutions of whatever reason is punished. glib comment of his aside, this isn't something I mean, you hear all the time members of other parties saying that people should resign, and there's been a few calls for it tonight. I don't blame the problem of the NHS on any party. I blame all of them. And I do that because this whole debate is based on a mistake, which is the NHS itself. Which is based on a terrible mistake, which is the notion, a nice notion, that you can all get, you can hiss, ladies and gentlemen, but you're on television and your parents will be watching and they won't like it, they won't feel proud.
You flatter half the audience with that remark.
But I would say that this is a problem. I mean, everyone likes the sound of the NHS. It sounds nice and all that. But you will keep on putting money into it, and it will keep on not working. It's not that government is bad at spending your money. It is uniquely bad at spending your money. And the NHS is the epitome of that. And Mr. Cameron is saying he wants to make it his thing. Well, good luck to him. More of your money will go into a thing which will not work any better.